Welcome back to Headlines. I'm Wes Austin, and these are today's top stories. Newsom says that Democrats just need to be normal. Good luck. Here's Gavin Newsom at the New York Times Dealbook Summit describing what Democrats need to do to win, besides the usual late-night ballot dumps.
We could talk about why Kamala lost, which is separate. I mean, it's part derivative of the larger narrative, but I think there's a broader narrative that we have to address. That is, we have to be more culturally normal.
His legs were crossed so hard, it looks like he was trying to impeach himself. He sits like his prostate is in witness protection. But Gavin's favorite sitting position does explain why, under pre-existing conditions, his doctor listed chronic vaginal dryness. Ilhan Omar knows what caused all the fraud. On CNN, Jake Tapper asked Ilhan Omar if she could shed any light on why the fraud was so out of control in Minnesota. Here's Omar's reply.
I think what happened is that, when you have these kind of new programs that are designed to help people, you're oftentimes relying on third parties to be able to facilitate. And I just think that a lot of the COVID programs that were set up, they were set up so quickly that a lot of the guardrails did not get created.
The guardrails didn't get created. Yes, if we only had laws against stealing, theft, and fraud. They're pretty important. They're right up there with brothers and sisters not getting married. Halle Berry just gave Newsom a wake-up call that even his hair gel couldn't protect him from. Halle Berry publicly criticized California Governor Gavin Newsom and said that he shouldn't be president.
My very own governor, Gavin Newsom, has vetoed our menopause bill, not 1 but 2 years in a row. But that's okay, because he's not going to be governor forever. And with the way he's overlooked women, half the population, by devaluing us in midlife, he probably should not be our next president either. Just saying.
The bill Halle was talking about, AB 432, would have expanded menopause treatment and required healthcare providers to have training on menopause care. Newsom's literally making menopausal women hot and bothered, and not in a good way either. How unlikable is Prince Harry? Prince Harry showed up on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and tried to take a swing at President Trump, and to everyone's shock, it didn't land.
Look, I wouldn't say we're obsessed with royalty.
Really? I heard you elected a king.
That's a fair point. No, he's got a point.
Did you hear that? Colbert's crowd actually booed Harry's Trump joke. That means Harry has officially become less popular than the check engine light. Insiders say that Meghan Markle was actually happy with Harry's appearance. It's rumored that after Harry got booed, she yelled, "See, it's not just me." And now onto the comment section. So we're looking at this segment about Judge Boasberg, where he didn't know that he was signing gag orders that related to the Arctic frost investigation. So basically we're going to be looking at what's the current status of impeaching him, and are we trying to do anything? We had a number of comments about that. Here's just a couple of examples. This is from Maxwell Crazy Cat 9204, impeach and jail Boasberg. And then we had this one from Ralph 72462, and I'll just skip down to where he talks about that. This judge is a political hack that is obviously against anyone who is a Republican and should be impeached. I don't know how the Supreme Court is putting up with this activist judge that is constantly before them having to be overruled and still doubling down. Congress should impeach him yesterday. So we had a lot of people commenting about that impeachment. What can we do about Boasberg? And so I just wanted to look at what we have tried to do so far and what the status is. And maybe we can also just complain about Boasberg a little bit in between, because he seems like such a tool. Man, okay, so we have actually filed some articles of impeachment. So here is one of the set of articles. House Resolution 229. This was in March of 2025. And this was to impeach Boasberg, citing abuse of power for his decision blocking a key immigration deportation order under the Alien Enemies Act. So that, remember when that was going on? That was what that particular, the articles of impeachment cited. And so that one went to committee, but nothing happened, right? And then just last month, in November, there was a second resolution. I'm going to pop that up on the screen. House Resolution 858, calling for his impeachment. And now this one was actually citing his role in granting the subpoenas and non-disclosure gag orders tied to the probe known as Arctic Frost. So, and this, I think, was from the same, let me see if I can zoom in on that. Let's see, Representative Gill of Texas, along with a number of other representatives signed onto that one. So we had two resolutions to impeach Boasberg, and they both went to the House Judiciary Committee. But neither of those have advanced beyond committee. So nothing's happened on either of those. They could have held a hearing on it. They could have referred it to a subcommittee. They could have also debated the resolutions and, to amend them or do any kind of markup. But so far, both of those are just stuck in committee and nothing has happened. So that's all we've done with the impeachment. It's kind of stalled in committee. And I'm sure part of what they're thinking is, hey, we're going to need 67 votes in the Senate to convict, and there's no way we're going to get those. But still, I would like to see Boasberg have to answer for, even if he was just answering it in hearings, it would be nice to see him have to try to explain himself. So we do have some senators who have tried to do something in addition to those impeachment articles in the House. So this is something from Eric Schmidt, senator, and this is just from a few weeks ago. Senator Schmidt leads colleagues in calling for the suspension impeachment of Judge Boasberg. And it does say right here that there is precedent to suspend a judge pending impeachment. And I'll just read part of this. Today, U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt, chairman of the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on the Constitution, and colleagues wrote to D.C. Circuit Chief Judge Sri Srinivasan, calling for the administrative suspension of Chief Judge James Boasberg while Congress considers articles of impeachment on him. So they did send that letter. Now here's the bad part. The appeals court, they don't have to respond to that. So they basically can just file it away in the trash can and not say a word. So the senators sent the letter. I haven't heard anything. There's been no report that the appeals court has done anything with that. I mean, they could also schedule a hearing, or they could talk about what they're going to do, but so far, nothing. And I'm guessing that you won't hear anything either, because they're probably just going to throw it away, right? That's the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, and they're super leftist progressives. I just think they're going to trash it anyway. I'm not trying not to have a bad attitude, but they're under no obligation to respond at all. So I just don't think they will. Now the Senate did actually have a hearing, and they were going to try to get some of these activist judges in. Two of them specifically, Boasberg was one, and this hearing was yesterday, but Boasberg didn't show up, of course. This is from Bloomberg. Judges scorned by GOP refused to appear at hearing on impeachment. Dang. But anyway, this hearing was just yesterday. I haven't watched any of the clips from that hearing. I didn't really see any of them on X, so I'm guessing there wasn't any really fantastic events happening at that hearing. Otherwise, they would have been all over X. But here's a snippet from that particular article. Two federal trial court judges who've drawn conservative ire for their decisions against the Trump administration declined to testify at a Senate hearing next week. Now, this article actually was published the week before, so that's where sorry about the timing, but the hearing was yesterday. U.S. District Judge James Jeb Boasberg in Washington and U.S. District Judge Deborah Boardman in Maryland turned down an invitation to appear at a December 3rd Senate Judiciary Subcommittee hearing on impeaching rogue judges. That's just great. I wish they would have showed up this hearing on rogue judges. You should have some of the rogue judges there, shouldn't you? But they wouldn't show up. So they refused to show up for that, unfortunately. Also, the other thing that's going on with Boasberg is we did have the DOJ, they filed a misconduct complaint against Boasberg in July of 2025. So that also is with the appellate court chief judge. And just like the letter, the chief judge doesn't have to respond to that either. The chief judge can just dismiss the complaint outright. Can just say, it's dismissed, I'm not doing anything with it. Or they could appoint a special investigative committee to gather the facts. But because the chief judge can just dismiss the complaint outright without any input, I don't think there's anything we can really do to force him to do anything on that either. But nothing's happened yet with that misconduct complaint that was filed. So, unfortunately, that's where we are with Boasberg. We've tried to do a few things, but none of them super effective. So I will keep you posted on Mr. Boasberg and what we have going on with him. Okay, thank you for watching Headlines. I'm Wes Austin. Good night.
Please like, comment, and subscribe.